Hi everyone, this is Kristen at Orpha Beatrice. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on stenciling with your new stenciling kit. Each kit comes with a numbers stencil, a letters stencil, and then some kind of fun other things if you want to do a hashtag or an and sign for Mr. and Mrs. Today I'm going to be using some of the numbers, or if you wanted to do a quote and actually have the quote, those are kind of fun too. The kind of markers that we use are permanent fabric markers, and they are by Tulip. This that comes in your kit is a thin point. It's not fine. I actually use it to color in the letters, but the tip is small enough that you can get within the grooves of the stencil, and then the side edge that I use to color is nice for being able to color in letters or numbers. So I'm just going to show you guys a design that I'm going to make for my family. We have another baby coming this year, and I made a tea towel for our family in 2016 with the three of us, the year my daughter was born, my daughter Marin. So we're going to make a new one for Nora today, so I can show you guys some of the formatting tricks that I use when I'm making a tea towel. So you can decide whatever you'd like to put on your towel. I like to map it out so that I have it in front of me. I work backwards from the bottom up. It's the best trick that I've found to be able to get all of my letters or numbers centered and as accurate as possible without having to use an erasable ink to try to line everything up perfectly. So that's my first little trick. So the towel that comes in your kit, whether you get the white or the teal, they all come with this little loop. I think it's nice because you're gifting it to somebody who wants to hang it, or they can fold it and stick it on a rod in their kitchen. When you unfold your towel, you want to make sure that this is in the back and that you're actually working on the front of the towel. You'd be surprised how many times I accidentally worked on the back edge and not on the front. So you want to work on a flat surface. And I'm going to take this here, get everything set up. Make sure you guys can see too. And I've got this just kind of like hidden there, but I've got it in front of me so that I can see. So the first one that I'm going to stencil is going to be the 8. And what I like to do is I'm going to put the edge of the 8 right in this corner, and I'll look before I put the stencil down. I'll just explain it so you know what I'm doing when I do it. I'll put the other edge of the 8 here just so that I can mark that it is nice and tight up in that corner. So I can see the stitch on the bottom, and then I can also see it on the side. Okay, there we go. One more look. Perfect. You really only have to be this diligent with the first couple, and then you can rely on the row before to help you guide. So I always press at least 2 fingers, one on each side of where the stencil is going to go. And when you first get these pens, the ink actually comes out kind of quickly. So to prevent bleeding, I move as quickly as I can along the stencil. Holding it nice and tight helps too, so that it's not moving and you can work that quickly. So there's little 8. We'll connect all of these and color them in. So when I start the next one, I find the stitch at the bottom and line it up, and then I use the other side of the 8 to mimic so that I get the same amount of spacing. All of these are spaced the exact same amount. By the way, I'm using my ancient stencil that I've had for like 2 years, so you know if you got your kit, this stencil is going to last forever. And then once I know that I have it all lined up, just go. Okay. Okay. Because the 1 is already there and the next is 0, that's kind of easy. I'm going to move through this little section a little quicker so that I'm not boring you to death. As you get more, you can start to line them up with the other numbers to just make sure that you are actually staying together. All right, so now we're going to do an A. When I start the second row, I rely on the, for example, because we're doing the A, I'm going to be relying on the top of the F to line up with the 8, and I also want to be able to see that stitch here. So in doing that, I know that I'm lined up perfectly with the 8. I line up the R with the beginning of the A, and then I can check here, here, and at the top of the 8 that I'm still in line. You can also kind of see, because you can see the same amount of an edge. It's kind of off camera a bit, sorry. Next we're going to do an O. Because it's right next to the P, it lines up perfectly with the R. Sometimes that happens, and it's awesome. Also lines up well with the round of the 2, so I know I'm on track. Best part is there's an N right next to it for Nora. So you really just keep going along like this, moving up the towel. That's why having something like this is so important, so you're not having to check what you wrote before, etc. When I go to color these in, one of the most important things is having a light hand, because in these areas, you're really actually freehanding. So when you go to do that, you want to be as light as possible, and it's just one stroke. And I don't think about it too much. If I try to correct it, or if I get a little dip in there, it just makes it look a little bit more handmade, and I'm okay with it. But if you try to force it, it ends up looking too bold and doesn't look as, see how that one kind of came up? It doesn't look as put together as the others. And then I'm also light in the areas that have corners. And sometimes I'll go through the entire towel and just get like the softer points with a light hand. Same here. I'm going to connect them this way. Perfect. Do you guys think I sound like Bob Ross? Because I kind of feel like I do. Just happy little 8s. Okay, so that's how I color in. I just go really lightly. Focus on using light hand also in the small areas. This isn't the type of pen that's really even gonna bleed much. I mean, I could sit here and color it pretty good, but I just use medium pressure and go through to color each of those. And yeah, I think that's about it. I'll work my way up the towel and then show you guys by the end how I finished.